Does DHS have operational control of our entire border?
No, sir.
You heard the Secretary. He said we have operational control. That's the definition of operational control.
Based upon the definition you have, sir, up there, no.
We don't have operational control.
No, sir. We tore down perfectly good infrastructure system in some areas that we should have just left alone. Del Rio was a perfect example of that.
That was U.S. Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz contradicting Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and his claims last year. Listen to those.
Will you testify under oath right now? Do we have operational control, yes or no?
Yes, we do.
Joining us now is Republican Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville. Senator, it's great to be with you today. Thank you so much for your time. So it's clear, as far as those who are in charge and actually know what's happening on the ground, that there is no operational control of the border as a result of this administration's policies. But having said that, this poses a huge threat to the country in so many different ways. I will start with the 11,000 pounds, a little bit more than that, of fentanyl that has come across the border in fiscal year 23. Really startling numbers. Your thoughts?
Well, you're exactly right. It is a disaster. I've been down several times in the last couple of years, and we don't have a border. And if anybody's controlling the border, it's the cartel. We're having thousands of kids and grown-ups, really, that are dying from fentanyl. The human trafficking is awful. I've seen Chinese come across the border. I've seen Russians come across the border. We're asking for trouble. But you can't get a straight answer from the Democrats. They won't go within 500 miles of the border. They refuse to think that it's a problem because they want voters, bottom line. And you know, that's the reason we implemented tomorrow. We'll put this bill on the floor called the Border Safety and Security Act. And we want to make sure that we give the Department of Homeland Security the ability to have everything at their disposal to get something done at the border. Because right now, obviously, what we're doing is not working.
Well, speaking of straight answers, Senator, we want to get your take on this. President Biden taking major heat to declassify the COVID-19 origins. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul discussing this with our colleague Maria Bartiromo this morning. Take a listen to this.
We've got a real problem here that our government has developed so big, the bureaucracy so big, that they're trying to prevent oversight from Congress and from the American people, and it's got to stop. Until about 2 weeks ago, the Department of Energy's conclusions were classified. They had concluded that there's a good chance that this virus leaked from a lab. That conclusion itself was classified. That's crazy.
Senator, how optimistic are you that we're going to get these answers?
Well, it's going to be like pulling teeth. You can't get anything out of the Democrats. They know they're wrong on this. They didn't do any oversight. It's killed millions of people. We'll eventually get to the bottom of it, like we did, I guess, JFK's assassination. But it might be after our lifetime. But we're going to push it up here. We're going to push it hard. The Democrats, they know they have control. They know they're in trouble. That's the reason they're fighting to keep control of the House and the Senate. And heaven forbid they lose the presidency, because if, say, for instance, Donald Trump gets back in the White House, their goose is cooked, because he's coming after them. And they should be coming after, because they're hurting the American people, the taxpayers, and not just us, they're hurting people all over the world. They are hiding things from us, and this whole place up here in Washington, D.C. is a disaster. The bureaucracy is killing us. We have no oversight, but we're getting some now with the House doing their hearings every day.
Senator, I'd like to then go local with you, if I may. You represent constituents from Alabama, and I'm curious about any of the economic ramifications that you're seeing with the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. Do you have any regional banks in Alabama that are reaching out to you? Are they pulling back on lending? Are you worried about any economic ramifications, or are you confident that Alabama can continue to be as strong because maybe Silicon Valley Bank was perhaps a one-off situation?
Well, I think we have called people back in our state of Alabama, the banks, and visit with them. They're having no pressure put on them from their deposit people that are their customers. But you know, if you look at this from the ground up and just look at the background of this, This is not really a problem other than the people running the bank, how they did it, and the regulators. President Biden's regulators dropped the ball here, and I think it's an isolated situation. But when you do something like this, people panic because they've worked hard for their money and they don't want to give it up at an easy task in terms of people not doing their job. But this hopefully was a one-off deal, and the people of our state are really not worried about it.
Senator Tuberville, thank you for taking your time and for taking our questions. We appreciate it.
Thank you.